Welcome to Cultural Economy in the Kitchen, the podcast from the Journal of Cultural Economy's editorial collective. I'm Dr. Addie McGowan, Research Associate in Market Studies at the University of Salford's Business School, and I'm also reviews and online content editor for the Journal.
And I'm Professor Philip Roscoe, Professor of Management at the University of St Andrews Business School. And I'm co-editor-in-chief of the JCE.
Today we're talking about something we've all likely experienced, the cultural economy of concert tickets. From Bruce Springsteen stadium shows to secret living room concerts, there's a lot of controversy surrounding ticket platforms. We're joined by Dr. Victor Pires, who explores the dynamic pricing of Ticketmaster, and Dr. Loïc Riom, who looks at how Sofar Sounds fee structure enacts various social realities.
So, Victor, can you please introduce yourself and tell us where you're joining us from?
Yeah, my name is Victor Pires. I'm from Brazil. I'm speaking to you from Maceió. It's a city by the sea in the northeast of Brazil. I'm a professor at the Federal University of Alagoas. And, thank you for having me.
And thank you for coming. And I believe thanks to your students as well for making this possible.
Yeah. When we are trying to get the time right to have this interview, I have to reschedule today's class. So we'll have the class during the evening. So I have to thank my students to be so kind so we can reschedule. Probably they'll see this in the future and they will see, well, Professor Pires is not like missing class today. He's actually working right now. So
You're not at the beach.
Well, that's grand. And what have you been cooking in your actual kitchen recently?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys consider it like cooking, but last year I bought an espresso machine. Like a proper espresso machine. And I have been kind of deep in this espresso rabbit hole for quite some time. And after, I don't know, it's like after 2 months of terrible shots, my wife is having a better espresso right now. So I can't say that I'm cooking coffee and espresso and yeah.
Marvelous. Your kitchen is a shrine to caffeine.
Yeah. The corridor, when we have, I don't know, it's like, when we have guests at home, so I have to pour, I don't know, it's like 4 shots a time. So we have this coffee aroma on the corridor and the people say, well, that is a...
Exactly. Why is the dog on the ceiling?
Where is it come from? So...
Nice.
Yeah, it is.
It does take a while to get right.
Yeah.
Those fancy ones. Yeah, we have the same. Nice. Thank you. And Loïc, can you please introduce yourself and tell us where you're calling from today?
Yes, for sure. First of all, thank you for the invitation. So my name is Loïc Riom. I'm a postdoctoral scholar at the Science and Technology Lab of the University of Lausanne in Switzerland. But actually today I'm calling from Geneva, so not too far from Lausanne, also in Switzerland. I would have loved to call you from my kitchen, but actually it's kind of, kids are around home and the office seems a better place to have the recording taking place.
Sure, fair enough. Well, but speaking of your kitchen, even you're not there now, but imagine you were, what have you been cooking lately?
So as I was mentioning, a kitchen is very much about the family and kids. And lately I've been a lot into cooking pies, because pies are very practical and you can batch cook. And also when we have kids with different age, so when we all have different activities and we're not home together, so pies are very convenient for that. So I've been trying to master my art of baking pies. Vegetable pies mostly.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Fantastic. I mean, when you get to the stage of trying to feed teenagers who are never full, the pie is a wonderful device. It was when we had 3 teenage boys, and a pie was about the only thing you could put in front of them that would quiet them for an hour or so, keep them out of the biscuit tin. Anyway, these are our guests for today. This is our lineup. If you think it sounds good, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. So let's get started.
All right. So Victor, we're going to start with you. And we're inviting you to discuss your paper, How Much is Too Much? Dynamically Priced Tickets and Algorithm Agency on the Ticketmaster platform. This was out with the JCE in 2025. So this paper looks at Ticketmaster's dynamic pricing algorithm as a market device, classic market studies language there. And you start with the example of Bruce Springsteen's 2022 tour. I actually went to his stop in Edinburgh on that tour. I wasn't in charge of buying the tickets, thankfully. But it was fantastic. And according to the Scottish Music Network, Bruce sold out all of those UK shows. I think it was like 220,000 tickets in under 8 hours, which is pretty wild. So I'm sure what you discussed was happening in the UK market too. So first, can you share a bit about what inspired this work? Are you a Bruce fan? Are you a concert goer? What got you into this?
Yeah. I think I'm more like a concert goer because during the time I wrote this piece, I was in Montreal. I was a visiting professor at McGill University. I was hosted by the one and only Will Straw. Probably Loïc knows Will. And during my time in Montreal, I was going to a lot of concerts. Montreal is like a live music city in a way. And I kind of started to notice that even the smaller concerts that I went to in Montreal, the tickets were sold by Ticketmaster. And I started to notice that they have, different tiers of tickets on these websites. I remember I tried to buy, it's like a Father John Misty concert at that time. And they have like 2 tiers of tickets, like regular tickets and these platinum tickets. And I remember thinking about, probably these platinum tickets are like VIP tickets or tickets with the rights to go to meet and greets, or I don't know. It's like I was thinking that probably platinum tickets were different kind of tickets. But what I discovered next was that these platinum tickets are like regular tickets sold by dynamic pricing, through dynamic pricing. So they are kind of pricing these tickets like an amount of tickets based on demand. So I was interested to how can I buy a ticket in a dynamic pricing system? Since Father John Misty is not a huge artist, they were not so expensive. Like the regular tickets were around 40 Canadian dollars, and this platinum tickets was around, I don't know, it's like we're around 100 probably. But that's when I discovered about the controversies around Bruce Springsteen and the huge crisis and the huge discussions on the platinum tickets, and also in other tools as well. Madonna and Bruce Springsteen was like the tip of the iceberg, it's like because tickets went on sale for around, I don't know, we have data that some tickets for the US tours kind of get into around the $5,000, and it was a.
Can I just ask briefly, for anyone who's listening or watching who is in the same situation as me, maybe hasn't been to quite so many Springsteen concerts recently, or in fact bought tickets on Ticketmaster, what's the difference between a platinum and a regular ticket? What do you get extra? I mean, obviously it costs a whole load more.
Yeah.
Addie's shaking her head.
In practical terms, no difference between the platinum and the regular. The thing is, it costs more. Yeah, because in my research, we are kind of trying to, how can I say, understand the fight between Ticketmasters and digital scalpers. It's like I was trying to understand how Ticketmaster create initiatives to try to fight digital scalpers. So they are doing this, I don't know, it's like verified fan initiative. So they are doing pre-sale for fans. They are doing sponsorships, pre-sale. So they have a huge history of fighting digital scalps. But the thing is, I never saw before is like a company that tried to stop digital scalpers doing their game in first place.
So it could do its own scalping.
Yeah. It's like so we are trying to speculate on this concert ticket, so there is no margin of profit for scalpers. It's like in practical terms, there is no difference between platinum tickets. They are just regular tickets sold through dynamic pricing.
Nice. Yeah. And Loïc, you've been nodding along. Is there anything you want to join in at this stage?
Oh, I really liked Victor's paper. We've been talking several times beforehand, so I know Victor's work quite well because he worked also on Sofar Sounds. I think our two paper is really describing how the live music industry have been evolving the last, let's say, 20, 30 years, and all those new form of economization of live music that are around those big company like Live Nation that is owning Ticketmaster, and how it changed our relationship to concert and what we call and what we understand as being live music.
Yeah, and speaking of that evolution, I really appreciate, Victor, you going through that history of Ticketmaster. I always think I'm a platform scholar as well, and I think grounding in the history of the evolution of these platforms is really an insightful place to begin. So it was founded in 1976 to be a back office kind of set of solutions for ticketing systems, and then it shifted into that user-centric kind of tech evolution after Paul Allen, who co-founded Microsoft, bought it in 1993. So, both of you, I guess, can you tell us a bit about Ticketmaster's story from there and why you consider its tech to be important piece in this paper, and indeed, Loïc, what you were just talking about, kind of that evolution of live music, concert, ticket purchasing that you mentioned?
Yeah. The thing is, I kind of became interested in Ticketmaster, first of all, because Ticketmasters used to work in Brazil. I don't know, it's like 10 or 20 years ago. I remember one of the first music festivals I went to in Brazil. It was like a music festival in Rio, and I bought this ticket like through Ticketmasters. But I don't know why Ticketmaster kind of leave Brazilian market for a while, and they come back with Live Nation. I believe like 4 years or 3 years ago, and they started to do like these huge tours of Brazilian artists, merging the production side and also the ticket sales in Brazil, and that's why I kind of became kind of interested in Ticketmaster here in the Brazilian context. But since I was in Montreal as a visiting professor, I kind of started to understand the different dynamics, because we don't have platinum tickets here in Brazil right now. We had like a digital mediation of Ticketmasters. How do you organize a virtual queue, a virtual line to buy tickets? How you organize like who will have the chance to buy the actual tickets and who will have to go to, I don't know, it's like a secondary market to buy from another fan or another scalper or something like that. And the history of Ticketmaster, and I think not just Ticketmaster, but also all ticketing platforms, is try to understand how, from the point of view of the music fan, we can, I don't know, like start to taking seriously the ticket as a cultural product, It's like because I think what made my work and Loïc's paper so interesting is because we are trying to take seriously things that people are not taking into account when they talk about live music. Because live music, usually people try to understand live music through like the lens of the producer, it's like public policies, huge music festivals, tours of bigger artists, but they don't take enough attention to this kind of invisible processes that happen to make live music the way we know. Is like when we talk fees and when we talk tickets, we are not talking about these things when we talk about, I don't know, it's like indie music festival in Manchester or in Geneva or something like that, or even in Brazil. That's why I think these two papers are so interesting, because we take into account things that people are not paying so much attention, probably. Yeah. And I think ticket fees and a lot of controversies that exist in live music tells a lot about the way things are today. So,
yeah. And I think too, I mean, you bring up the national context of different Ticketmaster instances. I mean, I'm sure you have both, and I have too, gone to concerts in many different countries. And for each one, I have to create a different Ticketmaster account, and it's just so interesting the way that like that kind of sovereignty around tech.
And I have to say, it's easier to buy tickets in the UK than in Brazil. It's like, I went to Manchester to see Oasis.
Nice.
During the reunion tour, but I could not get tickets to see Oasis in Brazil, so it was tough.
Wow. Yeah, you have to fly across the world to see the artist you want to see. And I know that I have many friends who did that with Taylor Swift, like it was so much easier. American friends from the United States found it much easier to buy a ticket in Stockholm or in Paris than in, their home state because of this dynamic pricing and the tickets. Yeah. So, with that, I really appreciate the focus on the kind of almost, the material, the techno material object of the ticket. And so what does calling this thing, the dynamic pricing, this system, a market device, do to help us understand what's going on? I think in our market studies world, we can, use that term, but you extend it, you really work with it. So tell our listeners a bit about how calling this a market device helps you figure out just what's happening.
Yeah. The thing is, I was trying to take the attention to the product itself. When I was looking for some methodologies or some theories to help me to understand, because I am not a cultural economist in a way. It's like trying to kind of find methodologies that allow me to put the tickets on the center of attention. It's like how can I think about tickets? Because during my PhD study, I studied the same network that Loïc did, Sofar Sounds, but I did more focusing in Brazil at the time. And I was kind of interested by Latour's theory, the actor network theory. And I was interested to understand how these isolated things use it to work together to build a live music concert. It's like how we can talk about tickets, fees, artists, producers, performances, stages, venues, and put all together and call it a concert, and a lot of things that I thought during my PhD through the controversies of Sofar Sounds helped me to kind of understand in a way how these cultural productions are based in a way as networks in a way. And I kind of saw the market device as a similar networked kind of it was a kind of a network for me to understand how markets are built, how markets can be created, and how markets can be markets in a way. It's like, because when we talk about live music markets, people usually are interested in public policies. Probably because they have to talk with less people. It's like it's less people to interview. It's like it's less people to kind of get into to talk with. When we talk about fans, it's like, wow, even the idea of fans is so huge, and is a policy. It's like a word with different meanings. And when I started to work as taking tickets as a market device, was a way I found to kind of understand tickets as part of a network, and a network that produces economics as well. And the Loïc's paper was a huge influence. We know each other since the pandemics, probably, as was
Should we then just drift over to Loïc's paper, which is called "A Video or a Flat Fee on the Performances of Concert Fees," published in 2023. It focuses on how much artists get paid in our new platformized ticket economy, and you focus on this case that you're both interested in of Sofar Sounds. Reading your study, Loïc, it looks like this thing wasn't even a platform to start with, but became one along the way. So let's call it a platform. Can you give us a bit of background about it, even if it is even a platform, and what got you interested in it?
Yeah, for sure. So Sofar Sounds is a company that was created in 2009 in London. And the story that the company tells to people, their investors, whoever are interested in the story of the company, is that the three founders were at a gig in London in a bar, and they were very disappointed by the experience of the show, and they wanted to create something else, something that where music could really matter. And they decided to organize this house show in one of their living room, and from there they had this idea of organizing what they call secret shows in unconventional spaces. So that's concerts that are not taking place in traditional live music venues, but can be living room, but also a startup office, a fashion shop, or I don't know, a climbing gym, for instance. They have a list of very unexpected venue. And these shows are secrets because people don't know in advance the exact location of the concert and the artist that will perform. They discover the artist there. Actually, I went to one of their event in Paris. So I think it was maybe almost 15 years ago, or 10 years ago. And I was really intrigued by this experience that was sounded kind of cool, but at the same time also very marketized for me. And then when I started to think about a topic for my PhD, I decided that I could work on that company. And as you mentioned, Philip, it's true that Sofar Sounds, at first it's not obvious the connection between digital platforms and live music. And I was kind of intrigued by how Sofar Sound described itself as a platform and was described as a platform. Part of my research was to understand this connection between transformation in the digital capitalism around startup, tech, and so on, and cultural markets.
I must say, it sounds much cooler when you say Sofar Sounds than it does when I say Sofar Sounds, as in, what have you done so far? Sofar Sounds, maybe next week. Whatever. But there's a big controversy going on, and you follow sorry, it's late in the afternoon. You follow the controversy through. So tell us a little bit about because this idea of secret concerts, unknown bands, it all sounds very cool and exciting. What's the controversy?
Yes, the controversy. So the kind of the deal that Sofar Sound was offering to artists was because those shows are also filmed, and then the video is published on the YouTube channel of Sofar Sound. So if people are interested, they could just take a look. Was either you get the video for free, has been edited and recorded by the Sofar teams, or you get just a flat fee of it was first $50, and especially when Sofar Sound develop. So Sofar is also present all around the world in different cities, both in Europe, North America, but also South America, where Victor was also studying them, but also Africa and so on. And when they came to the Bay Area, where I must say that there's quite a huge underground scene, people were a bit angry at this new companies trying to marketize or to commodify, as they would say, this kind of underground kind of concerts. And there were more and more artists, activists, journalists that were kind of pushing or criticizing Sofar Sounds for this fee policy, because their argument was that it wasn't enough money for artists, and that there were Sofar Sound was kind of disrupting the market for live musicians.
So you're arguing that the fees do things. They're performative. They shape how the musicians make a living. They shape the quality of the music. And you distinguish between these two different kind of fees: the appointment fee and the co-production fee. Tell us what's going on with these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the idea was I was trying to look at the different argument that these different people that criticize Sofar Sounds were producing. So following the argument, I was able to distinguish two kind of criticism. People, and this is what I called appointment fee, that were thinking about musician work as employment. And basically the argument is we need the fee or the money we get to be enough to cover all the costs we have, because when you're doing a gig, you need to travel. So do you have your car? You also invest in your instrument. Maybe you have also to pay other musicians because it's more like a solo based project, and you have other musicians coming to play with you. What Sofar is offering is not suitable because sustainable, because it cannot cover those fees. And the other argument that is kind of different is saying, and it was I call the co-production fee, is rather seeing the musician not like a worker, but a co-producer of the event. And the argument thereby is not about is the fee covering my cost, but rather how the money that Sofar Sound is making by selling tickets is split between the artist and Sofar Sound. And these people emphasizes that the most part of the revenue was going to Sofar Sound, and that was not acceptable from their point of view.
Right. I think you said about 10% is what artists were making from these shows, which is a wild thing. Victor, I know you've mentioned that you did some work on Sofar Sounds too. We'd love for you to jump in and add anything or your thoughts.
Yeah. During my research on Sofar Sounds, I was kind of interested in different connotations of the living room concerts as well, because we have some bands in Brazil, some bands in the US that do this kind of way of touring in a way. Mm-hmm. And how these living room concerts are different than regular concerts, because they have this roots on the DIY, like do it yourself in a way. But also Sofar Sounds get this kind of investment, and they starting to talk like a tech brand in a way.
Yeah.
And also I was at the time starting to kind of see some similarities between the capitalism of these platforms and this capitalism also on the music industry, because we have this I don't know, it's like Spotify saying, well, you guys are not releasing so much music, so release more so you can pay you more, like in an economy based on plays and clicks, like YouTube, like other content platforms. And also Sofar Sounds doing this kind of fee payment that Loïc works in his article. Because what I find interesting in this whole discussion is that we started to kind of put music in the, I don't know, it's like in the vocabulary of a tech brand, not the tech brand speaking the language of the music industry. You know,
Right.
It's like when I talk about tickets and platinum tickets and Sofar Sounds, and in a way, we saw a lot of similarities between this kind of logics of digital platforms in a way, and also these music platforms. So we talk about financiarization. We talk about the ways that people make more money based on money and everything else, because music industry have its particularities in a way. So we have to understand that before we starting to I don't know, it's like make investments or something like that in the.
So, I mean, this is a fascinating point, and we actually have another episode that's coming out, I think, on the 3rd of April, that is talking exactly about this, about the structure of the music industry, and how particularly organisation like Spotify really struggles to make any money, but the artists at the end of it don't get anything at all. And I guess maybe that's the context for Sofar Sounds, is that they you see, I can't say it coolly, it just comes out wrong, that they are operating in a world where the artists don't get paid. I mean, you know, they don't get paid by Spotify or anyone else. But what's fascinating in Loïc's paper is Sofar's response, when they kind of accept these critiques, and they sort of defend them in a way that suggests that they actually really do agree, but that this isn't what the game is about. The game is about exposure, and exposure is a mechanism of attachment in the market, in a different kind of market. So talk us through that, Loïc. How are you thinking about this notion of exposure and attachment?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like you said, the second part of the paper is about how Sofar react to these controversies and adapt his fee policy. And what I try to analyze is how, I mean, they did increase the amount of fees, but they also developed all the discourse and narrative about how Sofar Sound was or is helping artists to develop their career, to reach new audiences, and how they cannot pay more artists because they need it to sustain themselves, as being a means for artists to develop their audiences. And I mean, this discourse is very similar to some of the discourses of Spotify or other music streaming platforms. And really, and I think here it's why I put forward this term of exposure, is really this negotiation about who is providing a service for who. And we have when we thought about a concert organizer, we have this idea of, okay, we have a concert producer that is actually paying musician to play a show. And in some ways, what Sofar Sound is doing is to reverse that relationship, saying that we are providing you a service, and this service is the opportunity to play those secret, very nice and cool gig where you will have a full room of people being very focused on your music. And of course, this is taking place not only in a world where musicians don't get much pay through streaming, but also where it's harder to find actually good gigs for musicians, because you play in bar where sometimes you also have to pay to play. So, and that's how Sofar Sound tried to build this brand of being kind of a service provider for musicians.
But you suggest at the very end of your paper, and this resonated with me, that actually the game for Sofar Sounds is the rounds of valuation. You know, that it is actually a tech company, a platform company, and it's interested in the kind of things that tech firms are interested in hot financial markets, and that you write the artists are an attachment necessary for the capitalization, the stabilization of the value of the company itself.
Yes, exactly, because as a market, Sofar Sound doesn't work. If you look at their accounts, you can find them online. They just lose massive amount of money each year, and the way they sustain themselves is because they are attracting new round of investment as being a startup, and being backed by venture capitalist fund, different VC. And for me, that was really something interesting to show, is how this discourse also of development, of investing in your career, some kind of echoes also the way that Sofar Sound itself is not like sustaining its market right now, but trying to develop a brand, a value, a financial value of the company for the future, and for the future of its investors.
It's like little kind of Russian dolls of discourse about investments and valuation and exposure and development and all of these kind of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially in markets that, most people know that, if you know a little bit about the music sector, you know that you won't get any big money doing like gig shows. So that's where it starts to become a bit tricky, and why also people in the Bay Area were so pissed off by Sofar Sound.
Yeah, well, I think I want to bring you both in. I have two questions, just because I want to keep talking to you both. The first one is, the evolution of this has been the focus of kind of both of your papers, and I think you've both looked at different platforms. So what, if you can speak to this, has happened since you wrote these articles? Like in November 2025, the UK government introduced new rules regulating ticket resale markets. I think there was news just yesterday out of the US kind of dissolving Live Nation. I don't know the details, but not requiring Live Nation to use Ticketmaster. That could change a lot. So, if from a regulatory standpoint, any closing thoughts on those distributed regulations in different places versus the centralizing platform features of, say, Ticketmaster or Sofar Sounds?
Yeah, I think one of the main things that we can point it out since the paper was published is like the controversies around the platinum tickets kind of became like a regular kind of reality market, because I remember during Oasis gigs, mainly in London, I think there were a lot of controversies around the platinum and dynamic price tickets for the Wembley gigs, but also not a lot, but some artists kind of deciding to opt out the platinum tickets policy, and one of them was like an artist that I'm kind of getting into. That is probably Taylor Swift, because Taylor Swift has an interesting story with Ticketmaster, because I was studying and analyzing the process during the Reputation tour that she did a verified fan policy, like initiative, like from Ticketmaster. They try to kind of avoid bots, avoid scalpers, avoid the secondary market to sell tickets direct to the fans. But they did a lot of different strategies to try to make sure the tickets are going direct to the fans, and they did a lot of goals, if I can say, because if the fan buy the record, they have a boost on the line.
Right.
If the fan watch the video clip, the video clip on YouTube, they will have a boost on the line, and they will have this boost on the line to have a chance to buy a ticket. It's not the ticket guaranteed, you know. And since I started to look to this old strategy of Taylor Swift, I was trying to position the tickets in the music ecosystem, you know, how tickets relate to records, how tickets relate to music content online, how tickets relate to another merchandise, another memorabilia, another things that we have around around music. And we started I started to think how this platinum tickets policy kind of was adopted by some artists. And as you can say, Taylor Swift suffers a lot of hate online, and probably the PR that worked for her that say, well, we don't need this hate coming from the ticket sales. So she decided to kind of opt out the platinum tickets policy. And we can say how this policy is adopted or not adopted by artists since the Bruce Springsteen controversy, because probably people don't want to, how can I say, have more crisis to manage in the end, you know. And yeah, I'm taking a look at this point probably.
Yeah. Loïc, anything to add?
Well, maybe just to say that I think is you mentioned those new government measure, and I think it's really much about when I talk to people working for public administration, when it comes to music, sometimes they have this image of a very globalized, huge market, and it's very hard to have some intervention. But what I think both of our paper are describing is that actually it can be all, I mean, it's a very STS point, but it could be otherwise. And that we need to get concerned about how these platforms are working and what are the consequences both on musician career, but also, as I said, on our relationship to live music.
Yeah, true. So I think that brings us really nicely to this final point that I want to make and invite you to speak to. So, you know, you both point out how these different platforms first began fighting something. So like for Ticketmaster, you know, it was that external practice of ticket reselling and Ticketmaster wanted to do something about that for better or worse, or who knows why. And for Sofar, it was for the lack of remuneration for smaller artists, you know, in the live music world, dominated in a concert setting by these huge artists. But really, in the end, both these papers show that instead of absorbing and profiting from what they end up absorbing and profiting from what they're trying to fight. And indeed continuing to arrange their systems to facilitate and almost infrastructuralize that absorption for the future. So any last words on where this leaves us today, you know, in 2026 looking forward?
Yeah, I think one of the things I want to say is that we have to look to the music industry as kind of a specific kind of market, because I remember some studies coming from, I don't know, it's like 2010s, Loïc, 2010s, 2000s, when people said, well, we have these streaming platforms coming on, so the money is not on records anymore. So the records or the money is on the live music segment. So we have to tour more, we have to sell more tickets, we have to sell more merchandise to make money. But I think the reality is that I don't know if the money exactly is in the live music as we can see on those papers.
If there's any money at all.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any money, but I think what is interested at this point is because this kind of discourse that we say that, well, the money is not on the records, the money is not more in the albums, the money is right now on the tours, on the live music concerts, maybe for the huge artists, because a lot of medium-sized artists, they are kind of canceling tours because they cannot afford lose money on the road. And what I think about these things, so I make this question every day in my work, is like how these digital platforms are kind of making everything worse or kind of difficulting a way artists can make a living. Because when we talk about DIY, we are talking about I don't know, it's like Loïc paper talks a little bit about that the way we try to cut the middleman, cut the intermediaries to do like a small concert, to do a living room concert. So the people start doing living room concerts because they don't want to talk to the venue owner anymore, in a way. So when you talk about these cases, we are seeing how a lot of new intermediaries are put in the place. So we are not cutting the middleman, we are putting a lot of middlemen in the equation.
You're stuffing more middlemen in.
Yeah.
Great.
And Loïc?
Yeah, maybe to react on that, I think what's interesting also is that when we think about live music, we have this idea of how it is just there. I mean, it's simple, it's just being present. But in fact, this presence needs to be produced. And I think this is a good case also for market studies and cultural economy, because a lot of work have been done on digital platforms that are tackling topics such as algorithm, data, governance, and so on. And I think it brings us a little bit the questions of, that is very important to me in my work, the question of experience and of attachment, our attachment to think. This is a very much Antoine Aignan kind of claim. And I think this is something interesting because it helps us to understand why we are attached to those things and how they work, basically.
Well, that's it. That's a fantastic place to finish up. Thank you both. Thanks again to our guests, Dr. Victor Pires and Dr. Loïc Riom, for opening up the concert economy's black box for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you've been listening to, or maybe watching, Cultural Economy in the Kitchen from the Journal of Cultural Economy's editorial collective. Today's episode was produced by C-Ross Cinematics. You'll find links to the papers at the end of the video if you're watching on YouTube. And don't forget to like and subscribe, tell your friends, and share, and we'll see you next time.